We're all set there, but. Okay, I call the meeting to order. The meeting of the Board of Selectmen is being conducted via a hybrid method. The public may attend the select board meeting in person or may continue to participate via remote Zoom access. Until further notice, in-person attendees who are not vaccinated will be recommended to wear a mask. A reminder that to view this meeting while in progress may do so by watching local cable on Channel 9 or through the website application Zoom. And we will start tonight. Judge, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have Selectman Souza and the chair present tonight at the time. Do we have any public comments at this time?
Do not.
No public comments at this time. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of November 18th, 2021 regular session. So moved. Motion has been made. The chair will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed. We have our regularly scheduled COVID-19 updates. We do have 2 victims coming down. The chief and Kathleen from the who lost the coin tonight that has to start first.
I'll start.
Okay.
So our numbers have increased from the beginning of the month. Around November 4th, we were less than 5 cases, and as of today, we're at 28 positive cases. It's to be expected. I think people are gathering. It's the holidays. I think people just need to be mindful that coronavirus is still around, to get vaccinated and to be safe. Use all the protocols you can in place, mask wearing, social distance. I think it's of important note that only 0.05% of people who have tested positive for coronavirus who are vaccinated have been hospitalized, and the death rate is even smaller at 0.01%. So the vaccine is working to prevent deaths and major illnesses in people.
Good.
Our vaccination rates have gone up slightly. 79% of individuals have their first vaccine, and 69% of individuals are fully vaccinated. Walmart is still offering vaccines, and Randolph is still offering vaccines. There is a small backup of, I think, 4 days at Walmart and about 4 days to a week in Randolph. But you can make appointments online. And we're in the very, very, very early stages of trying to plan one more clinic here for people to get their booster vaccines. And that would be open to the general public. We plan on trying to capture Fellowship Circle and then possibly have something here now.
Is Randolph also open to the public besides Randolph and Avon?
Yeah, it's open to everyone.
Okay.
That's a stop the spread site, it's a state site.
I don't think it's an official state site, but it's
Close
open
enough.
to everyone. So I think that's all that I had.
All right, chief.
To back up Kathleen's numbers, the state level, so the state's running slightly ahead at this point last year. If you look at the December 1 last year to December 1 this year, the total positive cases are slightly ahead, but the hospitalizations are about 35%. So again, to play out what Kathleen had on there, the vaccines are clearly working, even though we're having people that get it, they're not getting anywhere near as sick from it. From an Avon standpoint, emergency preparedness, something we haven't talked about in a little while. I did an inventory of COVID supplies at the fire department the other day that we have townwide, and we are well supplied going into the winter. Short of a major, incredible uptick, we would have months of supplies there ready for us. And at the very least, there's a month of supplies. So there's plenty of time if something, catastrophic were to happen to catch up past that. So, I know you're always interested in how we stand preparedness wise. We stand well equipped to respond and to support other town departments as needed with the PPE required.
Are you still following all the rigid protocol with your responses that you had a year ago?
Actually, the Department of Public Health has rescinded many of the things we used to do. It used to be dispatch would tell the person, walk outside, meet the ambulance outside. We can't do that anymore. We are back to what the state calls routine patient care. We come into your house, if you have any kind of like chest pain or something, we don't let you exert yourself at all. We carry you out. So we are back per DPH to pre-pandemic response. Nothing's, it's not changed. Combination of vaccines, we have good PPE available to us. We're required to wear masks on the ambulance all the time because it's a healthcare facility. It's a licensed healthcare facility. Luckily, they don't consider the fire station a licensed healthcare facility, but the ambulances are. So we're very careful, but the state made us go back to pre-COVID. We're back in 2018.
I think another comment about the numbers, I think we're gonna see increased numbers from last year this time, because last year at this time we were still in part lockdown. We had restrictions on gathering sizes indoors and outdoors. And we don't have any of that now. So I think just by nature, we're gonna see more numbers than we had in the past.
Sounds good.
Good.
Thank you. Town Administrator, any comments about public buildings at this time?
Mr. Chairman, one thing, Kathleen and I are going to send an email tomorrow, just reminding staff to kind of do the same thing they mentioned, try to, flu season's coming, COVID's still here. Looking to just remind staff to try to use the glass partitions as whenever possible. If they're meeting with members of the public to sit in conference rooms. We have one on each end of the building that they can spread out and look at things if they need to. So we're just trying to make sure that we're reiterating to those members. We did go back to BBW to do one person per car. Again, just with the flu season going on, we're going to try to do that too. And we're just trying to tell people to be as safe as possible.
Thank you. Continuing on with our agenda, we have a discussion with a medical marijuana facility. Gentlemen, would you like to come to the hot seats? Cold seats, hot seats? And special counsel. Good evening, gentlemen. State your name for the record.
Good evening, Steve Riley. And Francis Crimmins.
Very good. What would you like to say?
So we're here for host community agreement. Attorney Fedorov and I have been going back and forth on a few different drafts. I think in the most recent draft, we've been pretty agreeable on most points. The only requested change that we really have an issue with is there was a provision put in regarding essentially trying to identify projected numbers, which we projected probably about $5 million or so for the store, $5 to $6 million. That's based on our current Springfield store. We provided some of those are direct sales numbers from the store, just to give you an idea. But the language that was inserted would really require us to cease operations if we didn't meet those target numbers. So what we're seeking is that the Board of Selectmen be willing to take that requirement out. The reason being that we're going to make a significant investment of both time and money here in Avon. We're hopeful that we're going to meet the numbers that we would meet in Springfield. That's what we're expecting. But what we would like is the opportunity to continue to work on improving those if we don't meet the numbers. If this agreement were to be terminated because we didn't meet the numbers we're projecting, we wouldn't be able to operate the facility. So all the time and money and investment that has gone into it would essentially go to waste. So this provision, we feel we'd like the opportunity, as I said, to be able to sink or swim on our own and be able to continue to try to operate the business successfully the way we think we can do it. We're pretty confident in the numbers, but we are confident.
Special counsel.
Yeah, so I had emailed the board a draft host community agreement, which I also emailed to INSA, which incorporated all of the things that we had essentially talked about at the what was that, the informational session or whatever we had a few months ago. I took some of the board's concerns and incorporated those right into the agreement and exactly, as just stated, the only real hiccup here is the provision to essentially cease operations if they're not as profitable as represented to the board. I'm not sure if the figures for the profit and loss were emailed to you, but okay. So I do have copies of that, which were provided to me by INSA. So the question is, would you agree to remove that provision? And if so, we're in pretty good shape. The only other thing we have in here that's of consequence is consideration of the buffer. Are you still interested in pursuing that?
I don't think we need
Okay, so then other than that, it's just stylistic and nothing super substantive.
What would be your opinion of why we should not concede the request?
Why we should not or why we should?
Why we should not?
So, I mean, the reality is you're expecting a certain amount of funds to be generated as a result of the host community agreement. That said, it is intended to combat the adverse impacts. And if there are adverse impacts and you're not generating enough income to overcome some of those impacts, that could be problematic for the town. That said, it's a site that was specifically located for marijuana, medical marijuana rather. It seemed to be the most appropriate. And projections are difficult to deal with for any business. So it's difficult to predict precisely. And there would be probably few businesses who would agree to such a provision, I would imagine. So that's both sides of it.
Before we go on, I'd like to just make sure the record shows that we do have a letter from the Avon Coalition for Everyone's Success, which in Avon we call ACES, that deals with some specific numbers and information. And I would say that the general tone of their letter, do we need to read this into the record?
Do you need to?
Yes.
No, but if you like to, you can. If we can post it up on the website as well. Part of the.
Want to read? Don't have to read this. Okay, we're gonna read it again. So everybody has it, and knows about it. Did special counsel, did you see this before tonight?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Thank you.
The bottom of the first page and the second page is all referencing all the facts. I'm gonna read the whole body. So read this.
Yeah.
Right, and then once you get past this, you'll probably start from there now. And if we miss anything, Kathleen, you could help us guide us, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, no, the other Kathleen, too.
Oh.
The two Kathleens, did that. Okay, how's that?
Oh, I was going with it because I'm a Catherine, but that's fine. I was just rolling with it.
Okay. A letter from the Avon Coalition for Everyone's Success, otherwise known as ACES, to the Avon Board of Selectmen referencing the medical marijuana facility on Stockwell Drive. Dear Board of Selectmen, the Avon Coalition for Everyone's Success would like to express our concerns regarding the town of Avon entering into a host community agreement with a medical marijuana facility. Although we understand there may be some initial financial gain for our community, it's difficult to see any benefit beyond that. The financial gain would be 3% of gross sales for only 5 years. After that, there appears to be no monetary incentive to the town to have this business renting space in this commercial building. A study from Centennial Institute of Colorado claims that for every $1 of taxes gained from marijuana, $4.50 is spent to mitigate the effects of legalizing the substance. Furthermore, in an article from the Boston Business Journal, it is reported that $65.63 million were allocated in excise tax of marijuana for fiscal 2019 and fiscal year 2020. The legislature appropriates those funds to support the Cannabis Control Commission or 5 other areas, 2 of which focus on economic equity and initiatives to benefit people living in communities disproportionately disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. The law also allows the legislature to allocate money to public and behavioral health, public safety, and municipal police training. It seems counterintuitive to collect taxes on a business, then use that money for education and the health and safety measures required to address marijuana usage. Lower additional facts about cannabis. Marijuana is both addictive and harmful to the human brain, especially when used as an adolescent. 1 in 10 marijuana users will become addicted. For people who begin using before the age of 18, that number rises to 1 in 6. That was referenced by the CDC. Although there are components of cannabis that provide therapeutic effects, the smoked form of marijuana does not meet the standard of safe and effective modern medicine. Smoking the plant is not as efficient delivery system, as it is impossible to measure exact dosage and contains hundreds of additional components that could have adverse or unknown effects. Smoking the raw form of marijuana is akin to smoking opium to get the effects of morphine or willow bark for the pain relief already available as aspirin. There is no difference between the medical marijuana products that would be sold in a medical marijuana facility and the recreational products sold in other facilities. Prolonged use of marijuana can be connected to mental illness for some, worsening for patients with schizophrenia and for others demonstrating symptoms like hallucinations and paranoia. That was from the National Institute of Drug Abuse. Studies show people ages 18 to 25 use marijuana the most. People who started smoking marijuana heavily in their teens and had an ongoing marijuana use disorder lost an average of 8 IQ points between the ages of 13 and 38. A study conducted by Massachusetts Department of Public Health found of participants, 25.6% of young adults ages 18 through 20 reported driving under the influence of marijuana. 24.1% of young adults ages 21 through 25 reported driving under the influence of marijuana. 42.8% of participants who reported driving under the influence of marijuana also reported driving under the influence of alcohol simultaneously. That is from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, 2019. And then it says attaches a quick sheet of the legalization of marijuana. Another helpful source is learnabout.sam.org, and attached are a couple references and all of the legalization process that the state took. It appears cannabis is trending with what big tobacco had done. Consider all of the years of public health education and policy change that has been done after learning the harms of tobacco. It seems like we will be repeating this again for cannabis. We understand that cannabis has been legalized in Massachusetts. However, we are asking you to think about all the aspects of our community before deciding to enter into agreement with a medical marijuana business. Sincerely, the steering committee members for Avon Coalition for Everyone's Success.
I want to thank them for their letter to us. Is a petition to have any questions for them in that letter?
I haven't had an opportunity to review it, so I won't rebut any of the specific facts, other than to just say, really, the host community agreement is to offset the negative impacts. We do feel strongly that the projected revenues would be $5 to $6 million. In Massachusetts, this is beyond proof of concept. We see this in communities. We see what the impacts are. I would encourage Avon to have discussions with those communities. The host community fees, that really what's happening with them and you're seeing in communities is that there are no negative impacts. And basically you've seen communities like Northampton return the fund, to the tune of a couple $1 million, saying we have no negative impacts for not taking money from these businesses. And Northampton's a community that had adult use cannabis. It hosted Netta. So that's a facility that would have upwards of 3,000 people a day there on that site, and yet had no negative impacts, had the mayor returning that money. There's a second municipality where the mayor also did that. So I think it's just indicative that there are perceived impacts, but that the reality in these communities that actually host these facilities is that the impacts aren't actually happening in the way that people are perceiving them. So I would just encourage the board to, if you've got questions, educate yourself through some of the other communities that are actually doing this right now. We would love to be able to host you, if that's to come out to Springfield or go up to East Hampton, show you the facilities we have, give you an idea of what this would look like. Have you talk to those communities, more than happy to introduce you to the mayors in those communities, the police chiefs, you can speak with them. I don't need to be in those meetings. I'm very confident what they're going to tell you. So I would just ask the board to continue due diligence if they have further questions about it. Certainly, I understand the perceptions about cannabis. I think the reality is very different.
Thank you. Any other comments from special counsel?
I mean, I could comment, I don't know if you want me to.
Well, I
So,
don't know, depends.
yeah, I mean, I think there are some things, I think this is, well-written, and there are some things that they have confounded a couple of issues, namely medical versus recreational in a couple of areas. So, but again, I think everyone can agree the impacts of marijuana on young people is it's not a healthy substance for young people. And that's why they set the limit. And for medical marijuana, you need something beyond that. You need a medical card. So that's my only comment on that. But absolutely, there are health consequences if you're using marijuana as an underage person.
Board have any other questions or comments at this time? No. What is the board's pleasure? We could certainly,
One item, let's see.
special counsel.
Yes, that's the substantive change. So I'm sorry, my printing came out terrible and I didn't see the red line. It was hard to read. But this payment on the down payment, you're still getting a $25,000 down payment. There's some deletion there, but I can't read what it was. And they're not contesting taxes if in fact they're taxable, but at this point, those wouldn't be taxable. The traffic study is going to be done in connection with the special permit. It's a 5-year term. And that's it. That's really the nuts and the bolts of the changes.
Kate, what's on the renewal part? I know that's the biggest thing that's also just out there for the board to know. Is
Yeah, so.
5-year afterwards as well.
So under the legislation as written currently, you have to have an HCA in place to be permitted to operate. So at the termination, although the renewal language was struck, you have to renew or stop operating. So they'll come together and negotiate another host agreement. The big question is what will happen with the community impact fees if they'll sunset at that point, and there's some disagreement among lawyers as to the language. Some lawyers feel that you can negotiate a new set of 5 years of community impact payments, while others are saying that sunsets after 5 years. And I will bet you dollars to donuts, we're going to have some litigation to settle that piece.
Prior to our 5 years being up.
Pardon?
Prior to our 5 years. being
Yes,
up.
prior, yes, you guys are behind the game at this point. Yeah, so there are lots of agreements that are already in place.
Isn't that a job security for the lawyers?
Right, exactly. That's why we always disagree.
Great for debate.
No more, well, all right, so at least the town's still gonna get a percentage, whether your projected revenue is $5 to $6 million. If you only make $3 million, you still get a percentage. It's not only based on 5
Still
to 6.
3%, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
So it's not like the town's not gonna get anything. It's just that you're gonna have to try to work harder to make more money.
It'll just be less than we expected, but we have every incentive to drive that number up ourselves, so.
Is there a compromise between what you're suggesting versus what they're suggesting? Or is it one or the other at this point?
I think, so really what we couldn't do is set a minimum because it could exceed the 3% and then we would be in violation of law. And although years ago, there were communities that tried to be creative about that, it's just not smart because it's directly contrary to law. So I will not advocate for that. You could put a requirement in there to have them come back and report the reasons for the missed target numbers or something like that, and we could have a discussion.
Don't we have that right anyways?
Yeah,
At
you
any
could
time?
always, you can always bring someone in to talk.
So again, the idea will be is that, and I don't know if we put I don't know if we put a projection number in there, could that be the compromise? So say they come in at 5 million, and we say if they don't meet 80% of that, or something to that extent, that they would have to come back and have a discussion before, is that something, I'm not saying a number, I'm just thinking in terms of a compromise, because I know we can't set a minimum, because that's, you said that gets the issue, but
Yeah, I mean, you could build into the agreement that they come back at a certain trigger number. But like you said, you can bring them in anyways to have a discussion, and I'm sure they would happily come to a meeting. But we could absolutely build something into the agreement like that.
And all the other conditions of the draft is pretty much all set with.
Yeah, they were acceptable, so.
What's lady?
I have no problem leaving.
You're okay with?
I mean, we're a small town. It's not like we're in a big city where they're gonna get lost. We're gonna bring them in if there's problems.
Sure. Okay, so the board will allow the petitioner to amend the draft that was prepared by you on that one condition.
Okay, and you saw the other red lines, I kind of ran through them quickly and they were not big deals. Were you okay with it as written in the red line form? Yeah,
I was.
okay, great.
The only issue I had was the money, but it's self-explanatory.
So we'll take a vote for you to continue negotiations with the petitioner. Make sure that whatever we're agreeing to tonight gets in final form.
Okay,
And then I think what I'd like to do is, because we're missing one selectman, is come back when that's finalized,
okay,
and we'll vote on it officially with all 3 selectmen here. And then we can move forward from there. Does that
Great.
sound reasonable to you?
I'll send you a final clean copy without any tracks and have it ready to go.
Are we good?
For the next, when will you meet? I just.
16th
The
is the next
16th
meeting.
of December?
Yep.
Okay. And would you like me to attend? I'm just asking.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? In case we have a technical question.
Yes, sure.
And plus, you know, we want to make sure you're here to disagree with the petitioner.
Okay, I'm gonna think long and hard about that. Okay, so Thursday, December 16th, I'm free, so.
Thank you.
If I'm available, I may have to appear via Zoom. I'm in Pennsylvania, but I'll be able to call in if that's okay.
Do they have Zoom in Pennsylvania?
The service isn't great there, but I can find a spot.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
You gotta get the satellite on top of the barn.
I'm talking about top of the cow running around.
There's a lot of barns.
Yeah.
Have you been to Shamokin Dam, Pennsylvania?
I went to school next to it.
I did.
I don't know if I don't think that.
We're gonna get in trouble. We'll have Pennsylvania people with pitchforks out front.
All right, so the course of action now is the 2 parties are going to get back together,
Yes.
finalize this, come before the board on the 16th, and we'll vote on it then. Does that
Perfect.
make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
And in the meantime, if the board would like to come take a visit, let us know. I'm more than happy to show you around. Give you some idea what this looks like.
if it was closer, it'd be easier for us, that's all.
I would suggest Salem, but we've got the whole store under construction. We're renovating the whole store, so it's not the best place to go look.
What's the facility that's in downtown?
In Springfield?
Yeah. Area.
That's ours, downtown Springfield,
Was that
by-
Broad Street?
no, it's on Columbus Ave.
Columbus Ave.
Columbus Ave, Yep.
Right before the basketball.
Yep. So the best way to describe what Avon would be is the look of that store, which
Yep.
is the brand new recreational store. But the volume of our medical store in Springfield, which is on Cottage Street.
Yep.
So if you end up in Springfield, it's worth checking out both to see what it would look like. And then the Cottage Street will give you a better idea of the pace of what it would actually be.
I saw the one in Columbus Ave.
That's a busy store.
Yeah. But it's also a great busy part of Springfield.
Right, yeah. It's a place for it, probably.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks again.
See you on the 16th.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me again. And I guess you'll see Brian soon too.
Yeah, it's on last week, this week, I don't even know what day it is. This week.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Monday. right?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Oh,
always do, especially with a beard like that.
That's one.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, we'll continue on with our agenda. We're gonna have the annual license renewals. We get to, what do we want to start with first? Let's start with the alcohol renewals first.
so make a motion to approve certain ones.
Yep, read them first, off of that sheet. If you want.
So all the ones that say all set, I can read.
Correct. And then we'll make a motion to approve all at once.
Okay. So the 2022 liquor licenses for the town of Avon are going to be Shooters Incorporated at 36 East Main Street. A1 Niva Court, doing business as A1 Market at 85 East Main Street. Big Jim's Liquors at 155 East Main Street. Costco Atlantic Liquors, doing business as Costco Liquors at 120 Stockwell Drive. Avon Food Mart at 17 North Main Street. And Jessica Becker, CCDD LLC, doing business as Sips at 490 West Main Street, unit number 2.
I'll make a
Motion to approve.
motion has been made, chair will second, to approve the alcohol licenses of the aforementioned red. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Mr. Town Administrator, there's one license in that's requiring a clerk, but the clerk's not here tonight, so should one of us sign in place of the clerk?
We can have him sign it by tonight, he's supposed to come at 7:30.
He's not here during the vote.
I would say that you could have someone act as.
So just,
Yeah,
okay,
you can appoint a clerk if you want.
you're appointed, so sign.
Roger that. Okay, I'll make a motion.
All
to-
those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the entertainment license renewal for 2022 for Shooters Incorporated at 36 East Main Street. It will be for license for 3 pool tables, an automatic amusement device, which would be a jukebox, and another automatic amusement device, which is a video entertainment machine.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Chair will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. I'm just.
Okay. This is the license renewals for 2022 for a common victualers license. Costco Wholesale Corp. doing business as Costco Wholesale at 120 Stockwell Drive. Avon House of Pizza at 163 Main Street. New England Authentic Eats LLC at 600 Page Street. Cafe Management Associates LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, 600 Page Street. WB Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts at 20 Memorial Drive. Linda Lewis Martin, DBA, doing business as Shooters at 36 East Main Street. Walmart, 30 Memorial Drive. JLW Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts at 5 Stockwell Drive. WB Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts at 30 Memorial Drive in the Walmart. This one right here, He might pull, but says others. No problem. Abdo Amazing Pizza LLC, doing business as Jerry's Pizza, 147 Main Street. A1 Nivneva Corp., doing business as A1 Market, 85 East Main Street. Tambo's Kitchen, 490 West Main Street. And Amel Mendez, doing business as Avon's Best Pizza and Grill at 17B North Main Street. Make a motion to approve those
As read.
renewals. As read.
Chair will second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Library licenses for 2022 for Avon. There are going to be a total of 9 for the same applicant, Charles P. Marinelli at 340 East Spring Street.
Two of them are handicapped.
I'm sorry, yep, so 7 of them are regular and 2 of them are for handicap banks. For a total of 9. I will make a motion to approve those licenses.
Motion has been made, second by the chair. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, license renewal for 2022 for Class 1 license. Ballard Knack Sales and Service, 1 Mac Drive. New England Truck Solutions of Avon, 11 Layden Drive. And Unbreakable LLC, located at 105 Memorial Drive. And we have 1 Class 3 license at George's Garage Incorporated, located at 340 East Spring Street. I'll make a motion to approve the Class 1 and Class 3 licenses.
Motion has been made, second by the chair. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Now for Class 2 licenses renewals for 2022. We have George's Garage at 340 East Spring Street. Mr. Stephen Diacetis at Avon Auto Center, 104 Memorial Drive. Robert Nicholson, doing business as Britannic Motors, 110 Memorial Drive. Brian G. White, doing business as Cycle Performance Auto Body, 271 East High Street. Robert Schneider, 21 Layden Drive. Avon Auto Brokers, 159 Memorial Drive. Avon Auto Brokers, 109 Memorial Drive. CN Wood, 140 Wales Avenue. And Avon Gas and Service at 284 East Main Street. I'll make a motion to approve those Class 2 license renewals for 2022.
Chair will second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Annual license completed for tonight. We still have some more to do at the next meeting. Which will be good. We'll move on with the constable reappointments. We have 3 applicants. Oh, come on.
Each cover letter, right?
Well, just
Just the names of them.
just the names applying for reappointment.
Okay, the first one will be a Mr. David Azioff from Azioff and Associates Constables. 1135 North Main Street in Brockton. We have Adam P. Loomis from Allstate Constables in Weymouth. And third is Harold March out of Canton, who is with March Whitcomb and Associates Constables, Randolph, Mass. Make a motion to approve those. Oh, I missed one, I'm sorry, I thought that was the application. And also a David DeCenzo. Out of Lion Lane in Halifax, Mass. For reappointment.
You make a
I'll make
motion
a
to
motion to-
reappoint the constables.
To reappoint those constables as read.
Chair will second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed. We have in front of us correspondence from Bill Fitzgerald, DPW Director, in regards to operational contract for H2O Town Administrator.
Mr. Chairman, this is the person that DPW has used for the last 2+ years to assist with infrastructure, water infrastructure related matters. He did provide a list of some of the things that Mr. Olson and his company was able to assist with, include centralizing pre-chlorination of iron and magnesium, removal from 2 remote facilities, the filter plant, manage the replacement of the carbon media to help with quarterly testing compliance in extremely short timeframes, assist in staff training. It also has the ability to help with operations because he is a highly licensed person as well. As well as for next year, looking at doing cyber plan that's due to the EPA. The next phase of the SCADA upgrades, as well as some other leak detection and unaccounted water manuals. The contract has been the standard one they've used the last 2 years. It does have the rate sheet in there. It is not to exceed $20,000.
Any comments from the board?
No.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the contract H2O.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for H2O.
Chair will second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. We have in front of us a new hire, personnel action form for a new hire for a part-time circulation assistant. Megan Damiano from Avon. To be hired as part-time circulation assistant, grade F8, step 2, to take effect next week, submitted by it's just library director, as library director. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
Motion, chair will second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those opposed. We have a new hire. Elizabeth Valley from West Bridgewater is a part-time circulation assistant, step F8, grade F8, step 1. By the library director again. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Chair will second. Any discussion? See none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. We have a classification change for Anthony Balmore.
Stay on.
I'm alone.
What's enough? He's from Avon. Council on Aging, part-time van driver. Hired as a grade F7, step 6 by the COA director. Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, just point out that this is really not a new hire, so to speak. It is a transfer from Tony is the per diem van driver. So it's not necessarily a new hire. He's moving into the spot due to the retirement of.
I did say classification change. No?
Okay.
No, I just want to make sure. I said
He
that.
might have, I just wanted to make sure it was there. My apologies.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made. Chair will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed. Town administrators report.
Mr. Chairman, I'll keep it short. We did have the auction for some of our surplus items. Brought in about $13,400 for a couple items that we had listed. One of them was the dump truck that got about $7,900. So that will be done relatively quickly to get those off of our hands. Do want to remind people the holiday event this Saturday from the Avon Civic Association from 12 to 4:30. We also have the Letters to Santa program that's going on until December 20th. The mailbox is at the library this year. And then lastly, one of the things that we were working on with Old Colony Planning Council was looking at East. It's a late edition. It's not letting me skip. Well, Peter, you're gonna have to wait for me, Peter. My mouse is not working. He's gonna hate to admit the fact that he's missing pretty much all the meeting. We were working with Old Colony Planning Council on looking at some concerns that were brought up from residents on some traffic issues. One of them was related to West Spring Street. We did have a traffic count done. It does meet the qualifications for a review for any sort of update in terms of a heavy vehicle truck exclusion. So I would recommend to the board that we, at the next meeting, we can announce it, have a discussion and post it and see if there's a need from the public to move forward with any sort of letter that we would send to Mass DOT to add that. We have gotten a couple complaints, but it is a road that is highly traveled, so it'd be worth having discussion.
And we're gonna post that on the website, that we're gonna have a discussion at our next regular scheduled meeting.
Yep, and we'll have a little post on Facebook and social media to let people know. That way they can make their concerns known prior to any sort of letter or vote for the board to move forward with that recommendation.
Very good. Any comments?
Thank
you, sir.
And that's about it. We do have a meeting on the 16th, so we'll have some other updates probably by then on the architect, don't mind me, with the town building, so we'll have that looked at a little bit more too.
You good?
And I think that's all I have.
All right, we are having a executive session tonight. I will announce that we will be convening an executive session for the review and approval of executive session minutes to comply with or act under the authority of some of the lawyer. Any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements, and more specifically, the open meeting law, chapter 30A, section 22 F, E, and G, and to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, ASME, police, fire, call firefighters, or litigation as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the government's bargaining or litigating position. Also, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with the non-union personnel by the chief. Chair will entertain a motion. This needs to be a roll call vote. Selectman Souza. Aye. Selectman Rose says aye also. We will only reconvene in the general public for adjournment. Thank you very much.